So what we're going to look at now is the type tool and what you can really do with the type tool, and just kind of a brief overview of what it can do. So the type tool is located about 2/3 of the way down on your toolbar. You can get to it with the shortcut of T. And if you hold down, you get a bunch of other options that I wouldn't even worry about. There's other ways that you can kind of get this across here. So we're just going to work on the horizontal type tool. And there's two ways you can put type in. You can either just click, right, and I can start typing, or I can click and drag. And what clicking and dragging will do, just kind of make this type a little bit smaller just to show you. So I can actually then move, right? I can rotate the text box. Well, let me move. I want to let me move the. So you can actually move the text box as well. Let's get into that, which this won't let me do for some reason. But you can move the text box, and your copy will kind of move with it. Okay. So something else about the text tool is, let's just some text here. To very simply, you can choose from all sorts of whatever typefaces you have here. This is the size of the type itself. So there's a couple ways you can change the size. One, you can do just what I did, right? Just grab that. Another one is that you can use the scrubby. It's called the scrubby text. Or you can kind of just drag right on the text icon and move back and forth, which is kind of nice. You can also do Command Shift and the greater or less than signs, and that'll also make your text larger and smaller. If you hold down the Option key while doing that, you make larger movements in the text. If you want to get your text palette up, or your character palette, this little icon up here at the top will get you that, and you can actually get to a lot more things that the text can do. So let's take a look at that. So the text can also do your tracking and kerning, which just some type terms. Your kerning is a space in between the letters, right, which is right here. Okay. Your overall tracking happens when you're doing across either the whole word or the whole text, and that is here, right? And it does that whole, moving it in together all across the board, so it's all even. Whereas tracking is individually, I can move these words, and the shortcut to do that is Option left and right arrow. Also, some other things that you can do is you can see that these are very far apart. That is because of the leading. So I can also change the leading. If you do it to auto, it probably gives you what you want. If I want to change that, it's Option up and down arrow. Right, can change that, or you can work with them here as well. Something else that this has is you can fake bold something. Only use that if your typeface actually doesn't have bold. You can do all caps. You can do small caps. You can do subscript, and you can also then underline. Oops, I don't want to underline that one. So if you take this whole thing, I could underline it, or you could do strike through. So there's just some other additional things that you can do with the text. All right, so let's get into the tutorial. And what you're simply doing here is you're going to mimic what this is. You're going to do Helvetica 96 points, leading is 84, tracking is -20, and the color is green. So anytime that I actually start a text box, right? So you can see I start a text box. I'm just going to type in Helvetica. And I'm just going to move this down here to start, so I'm kind of on the right. Okay, we're going to change this. So if I want to color this, right, inside the character palette, I can change the color like that. I can also use the swatches palette, which also has some colors in it, right? And I can change it to that as well. Right, you could also go up here and change the text that way as well. So we're going to do Helvetica 96 point, which it already is. Leading is 84. Tracking -20. So I'm going to select this whole line now, and I'm going to bring up my character palette. And okay, so this one was already selected, so I was already doing that. -20. But why isn't it correct? Well, you can see that the R is not lining up. So I can use my kerning, which is Option left arrow, and move it in till it works. And we're going to do color, :green. And we're going to change that color by selecting it, clicking on color here. I'm going to select the green and do OK. And then to accept your text, you can hit the little checkbox, or you can do, or you can use the Enter key, which is by the number sign, not the return key, but the Enter key also accepts it. And that's your first tutorial on type.